There are a lot of feelings that I feel right at this current moment about the game that we just witnessed, and a lot of them, if not all of them, are negative. I want to give credit to Spencer Jones. Spencer Jones has continued on a two-way contract, mind you, to outperform his contract. He was the second best player on the Denver Nuggets tonight. He did everything that he could within his power to help win this game today. Spencer Jones has 28 points. He's 11 of 15 from the field and 4 of 6 from three, and it wasn't enough. As simple as this, man. Jamal Murray goes down with an injury. He comes off of a screen, balls. I don't know if it's an ankle, whatever it might have been, and there's no foul call. He ends up going out of the game, comes back temporary, then leaves again. He plays 26 minutes. There are +2 in the minutes, but he was 3 of 8 from the field, but at least the offense was working around him, and he wasn't able to close the game. And so then it was on Jokic, and when I tell you that, like, the fourth quarter, man, like, the thing that I'm getting, I think, really impressed about right now defensively with this team is that, you know, we're on the Locked On group chat and we're sharing the synergy clips and whatnot between each other. The Nuggets' three-point defense has become a joke in large part because the communication on the X-out and the closeouts is just not there. They're overcommitting in places they don't need to be overcommitting. They're not committing in places they need to be committing. And they're simply just making horrific rotations. I'm looking at a play right now, 72-75. 72-75. The Mavs come down. The Nuggets have a 3-point lead. Peyton Watson is covering Ryan Nembhard, who they could not stop today. AD gets the ball. They set a 3-5 screen for AD. They get a 2-on-2 with AD and Max Christie. They're fine. Now Jokic is on Max Christie, Peyton Watson, and Anthony Davis. They're then bringing help from the weak side with Cam Johnson. So Spencer Jones closes out on Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg drives. Cam Johnson stays in the paint. And then Cam Johnson flies back out to Najee Marshall, but then Najee Marshall passes the ball to Ryan Nembhard. And why is Ryan Nembhard open? Because Tim Hardaway Jr. doesn't complete the X out correctly and then runs out two people to Najee Marshall and leads the wide open best shooter that the Mavericks had today. And, of course, he buries another three. And then in another play, this time with the second unit in the game, they run a pick and roll with Nembhard and Anthony Davis. And then Cam Johnson and Bruce are both guarding the ball. For some reason, instead of just switching it or staying with your man, Cam stays low on the pick and roll coverage. Val stays deep because he has to. And then so now you got a 2v1 on Ryan Nembhard again, and D'Lo is open for a three. This is with 8 minutes and 7 seconds left. And then a 112. And D'Lo gets a wide open three out of this. This happened multiple times in this game. Multiple times in this game where the perimeter players for the Denver Nuggets refuse, and they just don't know what they're doing right now. Like they literally have abandoned all technique, everything that they were taught. They've abandoned it. And now the Nuggets are in a place where they're just allowing every perimeter player that you can think of is getting off right now. Ryan Nembhard today, he was 12 of 14 from the field and 4 of 5 from three and mostly open looks. 10 assists. He had 28 points and 10 assists today. That's inexcusable. They started the game off really well. And here's the frustrating part about where the Nuggets are right now. They started the game off extremely well defensively. In the first quarter, they were locked in. It was 41-27. The Nuggets were getting everything that they wanted in the first quarter. Jokic was balling. They were doing anything and everything that they wanted to do. Anything and everything they wanted to do. And then you get a switch in the second quarter, and in the second quarter, you get a new unit in there. And that second quarter unit was Bruce Brown, Tim Hardaway Jr., Cam Johnson, Zeke Naji, and Jonas Valanciunas. So Zeke scored, Val scored, and then now the lead gets all the way up, I think, to 18 points, if I remember correctly, or 16. Val got a 2 off of a nice pass from Cam Johnson. Tim Hardaway Jr. got a 3 off Val offensive rebound. But then they started allowing for them to get back into the game. So then the Mavericks get the deficit to 3. Nuggets call a timeout. Out of the timeout, Cam finds Jonas Valanciunas. Let me get this for you, man. Hold on, y'all. Let me get these exact notes for you. So let's see here. In the second quarter, we get Bruce Brown, Tim Hardaway Jr., Cam Johnson, Zeke Naji, Jonas Valanciunas. Val scores. Dallas goes zone at the top of the second quarter. Clay misses 2 free throws on a 3-point foul from Zeke Naji. Cam passes to the rim, but somehow gets stuck. Anthony Davis was a minus 13 in the Jokic minutes in the first half and was a plus 5 in the non-Jokic minutes. So then Jason Kidd said the best way we can utilize AD is just get him off the floor when Jokic is there. Then you just let you play a little bit smaller, but then now let Anthony Davis go at Jonas Valanciunas. And so the momentum starts to switch. Murray comes in for Cam Johnson. Spencer Jones, who played it great again, 4-6 from 3, had a 3 off a pass from Murray. Val scored off a pass from Jamal Murray. Zeke Naji got a layup. Like, they were going, but then again, they started losing momentum. And here's my criticism to Adelman. And again, you have to figure out how to play the minutes correctly. The Nuggets were playing good defense, and then they started playing horrible defense, and they stopped scoring. So the Mavericks started going on a run in the second quarter where they were just getting open shots, momentum's there, everybody's feeling good. Jokic comes back in with 4 minutes and change left, up 10. But by this point, the Mavericks are rolling. At one point in time, the Mavericks had a 16-2 run, and they were 12 of 14 from the field in the second quarter on mostly jumpers and runouts. The defense since Aaron Gordon and Christian Brown has gone down. It's not just about personnel. Their mechanics and communication has been atrocious. Atrocious. And what's frustrating is that as the offensive burden today was shifting on to Joker, because Jamal, some of this wasn't. Some of this is as simple as this. Like, they were not getting the looks that they had gotten in the first quarter, so then the offense started changing. I mean, I'm like, this is insane. And just imagining that right now, the Nuggets already down 2 starters. They're now down Jamal Murray. The creation isn't there. The penetration isn't there. The other players that need to be able to get involved to kind of steward the offense or the defense, they're not there either. It's just everything's just dissipated. So it was extremely frustrating given how well the game started for Denver. And it's the same thing versus the Suns. They started really slow versus the Suns, but eventually they pick it up and they dominate the Suns the rest of the game. Today they got out to a 21-4 lead. 21-4 lead in this game. 21-4 lead in this game, and you lose 121-131. So from that point on, the Mavericks scored 127 points to 100 points for the Denver Nuggets for a bad offensive team. It's inexcusable. The Nuggets have not played defense at all the last 2 weeks, except outside of the Houston Rockets game, and they're 3-4 in their last 7 games. Now, again, injuries are a part of it. It's probably the biggest part of it. Do they lose these games if they don't have injuries to A.G. Brown and obviously Jamal tonight? Probably not. But that's the situation they're in, and they have to be able to find another identity. And the issue is now, if Jamal is out, which hopefully he's not, if Jamal is out, that changes, everything. Because they just don't, then they got Indiana, Atlanta, Charlotte, and Sacramento coming up. Y'all, remember I told y'all, they should have been going on a win streak there. After the San Antonio game, I told you, based on their schedule, they could beat Phoenix, beat Dallas, beat Indiana, beat Atlanta, beat Charlotte, beat Sacramento. You got 6 in a row. Now they fall to 14-6, which is still really good. You fall to 14-6, and every game you've lost this year has been teams you're better than. You lose to the Dallas Mavericks, the San Antonio Spurs, no Wemby, Sacramento, the Bulls, Portland, and the Warriors. Those are your 6 losses, and you're better than every one of them. So the frustrating part is, when are you going to learn your lesson? And this comes down to Adelman and Dudley. What are you going to do to fix the horrific communication that's happening on the perimeter right now? Because I'm watching these plays. These are all things they were doing. For the weeks their defense was really good, they were doing the right things and doing the small things. They are giving up wide open threes to Devin Vassell, Ryan Nembhard, D'Angelo Russell. I just don't get it. That doesn't make any sense. Why would you continue to give up wide open looks to good shooters? I don't get it, man. Like, I really don't. Like, I'm definitely frustrated. Like, this is legitimately like one of the most frustrating stretches of basketball we've had since that stretch in 2023 when they lost to like the Dallas Mavericks and the Atlanta Hawks. This is what it feels like. Let me go back to that schedule. Because remember, December 29th, I want to say they had the end of December, they had the third worst defense in the league. Or actually the second worst defense in the league. They were 29th in defense. December 2nd, 4th, and 6th. In 23, they lost to the Atlanta Hawks, fall to 14-8. They lost to the New Orleans Pelicans, they fall to 14-9. They lost to the Dallas Mavericks, they fall to 14-10. And that was like the straw that broke the camel's back. Once those games happened, they basically flipped the script and started dominating from that point on until they had those March stretch of games where they lost those 4 straight games. I mean, this is where the Nuggets are. They're in this really nasty, icky, dirty, disgusting defensive period that they allowed back then, where you just give up an obscene amount of points. You start off really well, and then your defense just craters. The principles crater. The technique, it craters. The communication, it craters. So it's frustrating. It's frustrating watching the team, knowing how good they were to start the year off, and just to keep it 100 with you. Like, you know, Cam Johnson talked about it a little bit just a few days ago. And obviously it's unfair in some ways, but, you know, Jokic, man, like, Jokic did, like, he didn't, down the stretch of the game, you could tell his legs were gone because of the ask and what was happening around him. And he started missing three-pointers. He was making all of his three-pointers in the first 3 quarters, and then he missed them and just started getting them up. Jokic is having, like, an insane season, but now with all of these injuries, like, the ask is going to be on him even greater to carry and do more than what he's doing right now, which is making everything work for where the team is. So, y'all, I'm like, this is super, super frustrating. Watch the defense fall apart. And, again, it's December. I get it. But it's still frustrating nonetheless. It's super disappointing, given how the season started, that this team was 10-2, and they lead into the Clippers game. And they look like, man, like they're about to really do something special. They beat the Clippers. They beat Minnesota. They go to 10-2. Aaron Gordon goes out, or rather, Christian Brown goes out. They lose to Chicago, and then Aaron Gordon goes out versus Houston. And ever since Aaron Gordon's gone out, they have given up 128 points, 115 points, 139 points, 112 points, and 131 points. The last 5 games without Aaron Gordon, they have given up basically 120-plus points a game. That's not just AG. Again, go to Synergy. I can't share the clip with you on here, but I'm watching them as we speak. It is basic communication they are missing. Basic know your personnel they are missing. You can't continue to put yourself in a situation where you have to rely on scoring 130 points a game to win a game. Ever since they played Houston in the best game they played this year at 12-3, they're now 14-6 since that point. They're 2-4. Or 2-3. Or 3-3 since that point. But Chicago, you include that, like they're like, this is ridiculous. Like they're 4-4 in their last 8 games altogether, y'all. Started 10-2, and they're 4-4 since. So they will have a stretch where they pick it up. Like, I'm not long-term view. This is a very small part of the year. Cool. I'm with it. I understand that. But the frustration is that you can execute better if you just do better. Simple as that. You can execute better, just do your job. Simple as that. Do what you're supposed to do on these possessions. Like, it's just insane to, like, watch how this team is operating. And it's really frustrating, y'all. Like, you just expect more for the team. 4 straight home losses. And those losses, again, just to go through them with everybody, that is home losses to the Mavericks, who are a below 500 team, the Spurs without Wemby, Sacramento Kings below 500 team, and the Chicago Bulls, who are a below 500 team. Like, again, you're losing to teams not in your weight class because you don't want to show up and do the little things that you should be doing. And all of these games were winnable. You're better than every team that you played, and you've lost these games because of stuff you're doing. Because of the inability to do the small things correctly. It's that simple. Like, and I know I'm watching, again, Jokic didn't close the game out well, as a scorer, dude, but I'm not going to lie to you. Like, watching that game, it's like he is literally the reason why they're staying in all of these, in these games and in these moments. Because every time he left the court today, they were crashing. And then he gets back in the game today in a deficit, and now it's like, no, and then Jamal's not there, and now everything goes flat. They miss 11 straight shots. So, like, that's where things are right now. If they don't score consistently, they lose. Well, that's because you're not playing defense. And, again, when you are playing defense in the first quarter, prior to this losing streak, they were one of the best first-quarter defenses in the league and the best third-quarter defense in the league, basically. Because you started the game well, you start the half well, you put gains away, now you're done. But right now, they're just giving you moments. And by the way, they have been up 12 or more this season in 19 of the 20 games they played. They had a 17-point lead today and lost the game. They had I think, an 18-point lead versus the Spurs, lost the game. They had an 18-point game versus Sacramento, lost the game. They had a double-digit 12-point or more lead versus the Bulls, lost the game. Because you lose key principles over the course of the game. Simply guard your man, be where you're supposed to be. The Mavericks shot 51.6% from 3 in this game. 51.6% from 3. That's how you lose. The Spurs, when you played the Spurs, 40.5% from 3, 17 makes. So today, they gave up 16 made threes for 51.6 points. 15 made threes for 51.6 point percentage. And then versus the Spurs, you gave up 17 threes for 40.5% from the three-point line. You go to the Kings game. You gave up 10 threes in that game, but you gave them 22 made free throws. They shot 53% from the field in that game. So what I'm telling you is, the reason why I know this is an internal issue and why I'm frustrated is because they're losing to players and teams that they're clearly better than. But you're failing at the small things. You have to respect your opponent every night. Every single night you have to respect what they have the ability to do. And if you come out there and you play a step behind for quarters at a time, you will lose. That's simple. You have to stop letting go of the reins. 4-4 in the last 8 games, and all 4 of those teams are much worse than you. So you show up versus the Wolves and versus the Rockets, and then you don't show up versus the rest of these teams? So then what? You're going to show up versus the Hawks? You're going to show up versus the Rockets? You're going to show up versus the Magic? You're going to show up versus the Rockets? And then you're going to lose to all the other teams that are below 500 because you don't respect the moment? That's basically what this situation is. They're going to show up versus all these good teams because, you know what? We got to give our best here. We got to give our best here. We got to play well here. And then you just lose and you don't show up to the team that you absolutely should put away, because that's how you stack wins. Y'all, of the 6 losses they have this year, only 1 is a legit loss. Only 1. 19-1 is on the table if they simply do their job, but they are not, so they lose. That simple, y'all. Ridiculous loss. Ridiculous losing streak at home. 4 straight losses at home. It's ridiculous. And I'm with you. They should be 17-2 at the worst. These are not teams in your weight class. And then again, like, the Nuggets have roster construction issues. They have Jamal Murray, Gordon, and Brown. Because they have $52 million, $30 million, and Brown, that is a large percentage of the salary cap. They have $82 million tied into the success of Aaron Gordon and Jamal. If they're not there, they're a lot worse. If Christian Brown's not there, your POA defense is worse. And so now, what are they going to run? Like, I mean, I'm telling you right now, man, like, you know, you got to hope Jamal is like, okay, obviously, or, you know what? It's definitely, so yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. It's definitely going to be interesting. They've been terrible. They've been really bad. And it's really frustrating to watch kind of how they have just, again, you got to guard the three-point line. You got to guard the three-point line. If you have the number 2 defense in the league, you can still be a good defense without Gordon and Brown if you simply do your job, but they're not. It's that simple, y'all. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe, y'all. I'll see you on the other side.